ever feel like you're just hitting a wall? You read the books, you download the apps, but you still feel stuck.
Oh, totally. Like you're trying to keep up, but the world just keeps throwing these curveballs, stress, anxiety.
Yeah, and you kind of look around and wonder, how is everyone else handling this? Well, what if it's actually not you? What if your brain's basically running on like old software?
Welcome to the deep dive. And that's a really good way to put it. I mean, the way we're wired, our sort of default settings, they might have been great for, I don't know, a much calmer time. Not so much for right now, for 2025.
Exactly. So the old ways of trying to build confidence or tackle those huge goals, they just buffer. They don't really connect because the operating system isn't compatible with today's, well, let's just call it chaos.
Right. So if you want that confidence, if you want calm, if you want to feel like you can actually thrive in all this uncertainty, you probably need an upgrade.
And that's really our mission for this deep dive.
We've been looking into some really practical neurostrategy stuff, pulling from Michael Drew's work, especially his book, Be Mentally Strong During Tough Times. And this isn't just, abstract theory.
No, not at all. This is more like a hands-on guide. Rewiring your mental circuits. We're talking actionable steps, things you can actually do to build confidence automatically, to finally beat that perfectionist procrastination.
Accelerate financial goals, using specific mental tricks, find focus, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Think of it as your, transformation plan for the world we're actually living in.
Okay, so let's dive straight in. Strategy number 1, it kind of flips the script on visualization. Visualize success.
Oh, yeah. Manifest it. See yourself on the yacht, right?
Right, that old chestnut. But Drew's principle, it's deeper. It's not just seeing the goal, the outcome. It's, and I'm quoting here, seeing the reaching.
Seeing the reaching. Okay, that sounds different. How does focusing on the process, the reaching part, actually change things?
Well, it's interesting how it connects to now, to 2025. I mean, everything's so fast, AI, markets shifting.
Yeah.
You just can't wait for perfect conditions anymore. It's too costly.
It's true. You'll get left behind.
Exactly. And Drew points out that mental rehearsal, done this way, isn't just daydreaming. It actually fires up the same bits of your brain as if you were doing the thing.
Oh, okay. So like practicing in your head.
Yeah.
Building mental muscle memory.
Precisely. You're creating these really vivid future memories. So when you face that tough situation in real life, maybe a big pitch or a difficult conversation, your brain doesn't just hit the panic button. It accesses those memories and goes, oh, right, we've kind of run through this. This feels familiar. And that really dials down the fear.
Okay, I like the sound of that. So how do we actually do it, this seeing the reaching?
So Drew calls it the paint your picture identity action plan. Super simple, but you got to be specific. 5 minutes every morning. Pick one critical action for the day.
Just one. Not my entire terrifying to-do list.
Nope, just one, the most important one. Then close your eyes and really visualize the whole sequence of doing it. And here's the key. Use all your senses. See it, hear it, feel it. Like, what does the keyboard feel like? What's the exact phrase you'll use,
Okay, total sensory immersion in the doing. But what's the killer feature for dealing with the messiness of 2025?
Right, this is the tactical bit. You have to visualize potential problems, things that could go wrong, friction points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not just the smooth sailing version.
Definitely not. And then, in the visualization, you rehearse how you'll respond. Calmly, effectively. You practice handling the bumps. That's how you train your nervous system not to freak out when reality inevitably throws you a curveball.
Ah, I see. So it's less wishful thinking, more like psychological prep work, resilience training in your head.
Exactly. Building resilience into the visualization. Think about Idris Elba. Drew uses him as an example. When he was broke, struggling, he didn't just visualize getting roles, he visualized being an award-winning actor. He rehearsed the identity.
He lived it internally first.
Yeah. Until it felt real. So for you, maybe you're facing a volatile market or a tricky project meeting. You practice handling the tough questions, the unexpected tech glitch. You rehearse it until the real thing feels less like jumping off a cliff and more like, well, like you said, maybe an encore.
An encore. I love that. Okay, so that's prepping for the outside world. But what about the internal stuff? Like, sometimes just starting feels completely impossible, that procrastination monster.
Yeah. You're leading right into strategy number 2, tackling procrastination. But Drew's take on why we do it is, well, it's kind of surprising.
Okay, lay it on me. Is it just laziness? Because, man, sometimes it really feels like laziness.
He argues it's also not laziness at all. He calls it a malfunction of perfectionism.
A malfunction of perfectionism.
Yeah, like it's rooted in this deep fear that you won't meet some impossibly high standard you've set for yourself, so you just don't start. Because you're terrified it won't be perfect.
Wow. Okay. That actually hits hard. Framing it as fear of imperfection instead of just being lazy, that changes things.
Doesn't it? Especially now, 2025. Think about, like, the creator economy, being a solopreneur, launching anything. You're swimming in these perfectly curated highlight reels online.
Right. Everyone looks like they're nailing it.
And it feeds this massive launch anxiety. You look at your own work and think, ugh, it's not ready. It needs to be flawless.
So you wait forever.
Exactly. Yeah. But today, speed and getting feedback, that's gold. Shipping something that's, say, 80% good and learning from real users, that's way better and honestly less financially painful than agonizing over some mythical 100% perfect thing that never actually happens. Drew basically says your perfectionism might be literally costing you money and momentum.
Okay, so how do we break this cycle, this perfectionist paralysis?
He suggests a method called chunking. It's designed to kind of sneak past the perfectionist guard dog before it can freeze you.
Chunking. All right. How does that work? Sounds manageable.
It is. You take that big, scary project, the one perfectionism loves.
Got one in mind right now. Yep. Staring me down.
Okay. First step. Define the single most important objective for that project right now. Just the very next crucial step. Not the whole mountain. Maybe it's just like getting the first draft of paragraph 1 done or coding just the login button.
Okay. One single thing.
Then, and this is key, you break that objective down into what Drew calls insultingly small chunks.
Insultingly small? Like, what does that even mean? Embarrassingly tiny.
Yes, almost ridiculously tiny. So if the objective is outline chapter 1, the chunk isn't outline chapter 1. It's write 3 bullet points for section 1. If it's code the login page, it's write the HTML for just the username box. So small, your perfectionist brain barely registers it as a threat.
Okay, that does sound insultingly small.
Right.
And then what?
Then you set a timer, maybe just 20 minutes, and you work only on that tiny chunk. And when the timer goes off...
Let me guess. I stop. Even if I'm, like, totally in the flow.
You stop, period. That's the discipline. It starves that perfectionist part of your brain. Yeah. It doesn't get the time to overthink, to tweak endlessly. You just get one tiny thing done. The goal isn't perfect, it's just chunk completed.
Ah, I see. It lowers the stakes so much that the fear doesn't even get triggered properly.
You got it. Drew mentions creators like Alex Hormozy, his first videos, not exactly Hollywood blockbusters, but his goal was just delivering value. He chunked ideas into simple videos, prioritized getting it done over getting it perfect, and then used feedback to get better. He built momentum by just taking those tiny steps.
Okay, so we've rehearsed success and failure mentally. We started chunking down big, scary tasks. What about just feeling confident day to day, especially when things do go wrong?
Right. That brings us nicely to the third strategy. This one's all about building that bedrock of resilience, that real confidence. Drew calls it the power of quick wins.
Quick wins? Sounds like celebrating small victories. Is that it?
It's a bit more than just celebrating. The core idea is that the real power isn't necessarily in how big the win is, but in the frequency, how often you experience winning. He says collecting these quick wins is like stacking up little medals.
Medals?
Yeah, medals that build up this kind of defense shield against criticism, against rejection, even against your own negative self-talk.
Okay, that makes sense. Like, if you feel you're generally succeeding, one setback doesn't completely derail you.
Precisely. And think about 2025 again. Trying to achieve anything significant often feels like this long, lonely journey, right? Full of no sales calls, job hunting, creative pitches. It's tough.
Definitely. And social media just shows everyone else's wins.
Exactly. While your brain, thanks to negativity bias, is busy highlighting every little mistake you made. So confidence isn't just some nice-to-have feeling, it's essential fuel. It's the armor you need to keep going.
So how do we consciously build this stack of medals, this quick win armor?
Drew points to a method very similar to that famous Jerry Seinfeld don't break the chain thing.
Oh yeah, the calendar of the X's. He did that for writing jokes, right?
Exactly. And the beauty is its simplicity. First, get a physical wall calendar, paper, old school.
A physical one? Really? Okay, interesting.
Then define one tiny but meaningful action that moves you forward. Something you can do every single day. Just one thing. Could be writing 50 words, sending one outreach email. meditating for 5 minutes, even doing that 5-minute visualization from strategy 1.
Okay, one small, consistent daily action.
And every day you do it. You grab a big marker, preferably red, and draw a giant X over that day on the calendar.
Got it. So you see the progress building up visually.
And the only rule is don't break the chain. You build the string of X's, and your entire focus becomes just keeping that chain going.
But hang on, what if life happens? You have a truly awful day, you get sick, you just can't do it. Does breaking the chain mean failure?
That's a great question, and it really speaks to resilience. Look, the goal isn't absolute perfection. If you miss a day, okay, you start a new chain the next day, no biggie. But seeing the chain you did build, that visual evidence, it's incredibly powerful.
How so?
It's undeniable proof to your brain that you do show up. You are capable of consistency. It directly fights that little voice that whispers, you never follow through. Your brain sees those X's and has to admit, okay, yeah, I actually do this.
I really like that. Tangible proof against the self-doubt. And the Seinfeld example works it. He wasn't trying to write the perfect joke every day, just a joke. Put in the rep. Build the chain. That consistency compounded.
Spot on. The power was in the cumulative effect of the habit, not the quality of any single day.
Okay, so we've got mental prep, tackling procrastination, building resilience. What's the foundation here? Like, how do we even know if we're chasing the right goals or using these strategies on things that actually matter to us in this crazy, noisy world?
That leads perfectly into the 4th strategy. And Drew really hammers this home. Self-awareness is the bedrock. But again, he makes it very practical, not just navel-gazing.
Self-awareness. Okay, you mean like knowing my personality type, Myers-Briggs, Enneagram, that sort of thing?
He suggests it's less about labels and more about really understanding your core programming. Chapter 2 asks, basically, if you don't know who you really are deep down, how can you possibly set a clear path to what you want?
That makes a ton of sense, like trying to navigate without knowing your starting point on the map.
Exactly. And this is so critical right now in 2025 because the world is constantly trying to slap an identity onto you. You should be a thought leader. You need a personal brand. You must be a ruthless warrior if you want funding.
Yeah. Chasing those external scripts is exhausting just thinking about it.
It is exhausting. And it's a fast track to anxiety and burnout because it pulls you away from what actually energizes you, from your unique strengths. Having that strong internal compass based on genuine self-awareness, it's vital for cutting through the noise.
Okay, so how do we build this compass? What's the practical step? Is there a worksheet?
Sort of. Drew's practice, #2, is the pain point scan. Super simple, but can be incredibly eye-opening.
Pain point scan. Okay, tell me more.
Grab a piece of paper, pen, draw a big T down the middle, standard T chart.
Okay, easy enough.
Left side. Label it drivers. Here, you list the people, the activities, the environments where you feel most alive, most energized, most yourself. When are you in flow? Be really specific. Is it deep work in the morning? Brainstorming with a certain colleague? Walking in nature? Solving a specific kind of problem?
Got it. The things that fill my tank and feel like me.
Exactly. Then right side. Stressors. This is where you list the energy vampires. The people, tasks, situations that drain you, make you feel small, anxious, insecure. Again, be specific. Is it big group meetings, replying to certain emails, doom scrolling, forced networking?
The stuff that depletes the tank.
Okay, yep. And this T-chart. It becomes your personal operational map. But the real action isn't just making the list. It's consciously engineering your week, your environment, your choices to maximize time with your drivers and actively minimize or neutralize exposure to your stressors.
So it's not about hiding from all challenges, but being really strategic about where you invest your limited energy, protecting your core fuel source.
That's it, exactly. Drew frames it as plugging the energy leaks, so you actually have the mental and emotional fuel you need for the challenges that genuinely matter, the ones aligned with your drivers.
Wow, that's actually a really powerful filter for making decisions day to day. Does this feed a driver or a stressor?
It really is. He gives the example of Yancey Strickler at Kickstarter. Strickler realized his big stressor was that VC pressure to be this aggressive warrior type. It just wasn't him. His driver was enabling creativity, fostering community. This scan helped him see the massive misalignment.
So what did he do?
He made that huge, bold choice to make Kickstarter a public benefit corporation. It aligned the company with his drivers, protected him from those stressors, and ultimately secured his own mental well-being and the company's authentic legacy.
Whoa. Okay, so this isn't just a little self-help tweak. This can guide major life and business strategy.
Absolutely. It's about making your outer world match your inner operating system.
Okay, let's try and pull this all together then. The big message here seems to be, if you're struggling, you're probably not lazy or broken.
No, it's more like you're trying to run 2025's complex reality on software from like 2010. It just wasn't built for this level of chaos.
Your brain needs that upgrade. And these 4 strategies we talked about, they're kind of like the new code. Stop just reacting to stuff. Start actively rehearsing the future you want, including the potential problem.
Right. Stop letting perfectionism freeze you. Start chunking things down into those insultingly small steps you can actually complete.
Stop just hoping for confidence. Start building that visual win wall with tiny, consistent daily actions proved you can execute.
And stop letting the world tell you who you should be. Start scanning your own drivers and stressors to find out what truly fuels you and align your life with that.
It's like a new blueprint, really,
Yeah.
for building a brain that actually works for you in this new world, not against you.
Yeah, moving from just surviving the chaos to actually, maybe, possibly thriving in it.
So as you're listening to this, maybe just think, if your brain is like an operating system needing an upgrade for 2025, what's the very first program or app from today's deep dive that you feel like you need to install? Or maybe what's one you need to uninstall?
Yeah, which one of these 4 really resonated? Which feels like the most urgent fix, or maybe the easiest first step you could take, like today? What's one tiny change to start rewriting that code?